All week you've been somewhere bowing to the God of debt, bowing to the God of insecurity, bowing to the God of frustration. And you can't even get to God's presence and say, God, I lift my hands to you because I've been worshiping somebody else. Tell somebody, I've got to do it. I've got to do it. I've got to get back to worshiping God. I've got to get back to giving him glory. Well, allow me to move and shut down this thesis with 3 points of proof. Lord have mercy. In Matthew chapter 18. Yeah, Matthew chapter 18, Lord have mercy, verses 24 through 27. It says, and when he had begun to settle accounts, one was brought to him who owed him 10,000 talents. But as he was not able to pay, his master commanded that he be sold with his wife and children and all that he had, and the payment be made. Then the servant fell down before him, saying, Master, have patience with me, and I will pay you all. He fell down and he got down to worship him. He began to lift up this master who he had a debt to. It's amazing how this man had a debt of 10,000 talents. Good God. You crying over $300 a month. But notice he realizes that the debtor cannot pay the debt. And so the creditor decides we're going to sell everything that he has. We're going to sell his family and sell his stuff. This man has some debt. And in the midst of debt, he goes into worship. He falls down and begins to ask for a grace period. He says, just give me a little more time and I promise you I'll pay you everything that I owe you. Now, look at this. Now, we would be somewhere shouting if the creditor just said, all right, I'll give you 30 more days. But look what happens. The creditor had compassion. Look there, Lord, at verse 27. Then the master of that servant was moved with compassion, released him, and forgave him the debt. Good God. You mean to tell me that if I learn how to worship, I can be forgiven for some stuff that I automatically, real for sure, really owe? Yeah. You owe the debt. You owe the responsibility to God. But if you learn how to worship him, he'll begin to forgive your debt. Now, somebody talking about, I don't owe him nothing. Yes, you do. You breathe his air. You walk on his earth. Lord, even when you weren't saved, you were using up what belonged to him. I had a debt I could not owe. I could not pay. But he paid it for me. So I owe him my life because he gave his life for mine. So worship gets him out of being sold and gets his family out of slavery. Lord, somebody can need to grab a hold of that. His family had been grabbed to be sold. But when he goes into worship, he and his family have to be released. Lord have mercy. Some of y'all, you keep praying that your family be saved. Learn how to worship and you can get your family out of some stuff because you learn how to worship. So notice he worships and his debt is canceled. He worships and his family is relieved. Tell somebody worship gets you out of some stuff. Now look over here at Luke chapter 8. I hope that was the first point good enough to move towards this A on this thesis. Luke chapter 8, verse number 26. Then they sailed to the country of Gadarenes, which is opposite Galilee. And when he stepped out on the land, there met him a certain man from the city who had demons for a long time. And he wore no clothes.